In a world filled with information, where do you turn to get straight talk about retirement, investments, and your money? Lock it in to the longest running financial talk show in Arkansas, and let us help you build the bridge between information and application. Real financial change begins right here, and it starts with you.
It's showtime! Woo!
Grab your wallet. We are approaching the financial danger zone. More budgets are wrecked this time of year than any other due to holiday spending. On the show today, how to not wind up with after Christmas money hangover.
This is the Get Ready for the Future show.
And welcome to the Get Ready for the Future show. John Shrewsbury in for Scott Inman this, midweek as we are recording this show on Wednesday. I kind of lost track of time almost because we had such good weather and I've just been kind of just grooving on this good weather, and it's been really nice. And I don't know what that has to do with the loss of track of time, but it happens.
Well, you do kind of feel like Christmas is not right around the corner when it feels this good outside.
Well,
I think that's the deal.
Yeah, I think that is exactly the deal. So today on the show, we're going to talk about intentions. And intentions will get you, in a good place or maybe even a bad place. It depends on what those intentions are. But the holidays are coming, and you've got to know that also with the holidays comes that big stretch that is on your budget, your wallet, whatever you want to say. And guys, today we've got a big job ahead of us because we know that holidays can be just ruinous to a budget and really can get people into a financial tailspin if they're not careful.
I think that's one of the reasons that we're focusing on the word intentional, because shopping, Candace, is anything but intentional for most people.
Yeah.
You go in.
Oh, I intentionally go shopping.
Well, yeah, but the rest of it, what I'm talking about, though, is not intentional for most people. You go in to get, 2 or 3 gifts in a certain store, whatever it might be, and you come out with 8 or 9 things, 3 of which are for yourself, just because, you were in the store, you saw something cute, hey, I'm here, I'm going to get it. So the holiday budget gets blown pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. I am a fan of shopping online for this reason. And, if I have a list especially, it's very easy for me to stick to that if I'm not in the store shopping around.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say things have, even prior to 2020 and all of its craziness, holiday shopping has changed a lot over the years. Black Friday, the date used to actually be significant. Black Friday started on, Friday. The day after Thanksgiving. That's when it started. And this was great. Y'all are going to think my husband was crazy, but it was a beautiful gift in our marriage. What he used to do with me on this, we would have on Thanksgiving night, the kids would spend the night with the grandparents, and my husband and I would get up at dark 30, as we call it, and we would have the night before, we would have all the plans on where we were going to go, because we have a pretty large extended family, and so it wasn't just like us shopping for the kids, it was everything. And we went on Friday morning, and it was a fabulous time. Like it was teamwork. It's like, okay, you go over here and get this, and I'm going to go over here and get this. And just, no, we weren't, the crazy, insane people who would fight over a TV or whatever, but it was fun. And we just had a blast doing it. And then frankly, that got ruined when people started, Black Friday starts on Thanksgiving afternoon. And so we just don't do it anymore. And at this point, I'm probably about 2/3 of the way done with my Christmas shopping, and Thanksgiving hasn't even happened yet, but it's just kind of, as we have time, we're taking care of those things.
A little bit at a time.
It's just different, but I think the intentionality of like how we used to do it, we would go and know this is what we're going to purchase at this store. So we didn't come out with all the extra stuff. It was things that were on the list, and that makes a big difference for your finances.
If you drop down in the comments and give us a comment, we would like to ask you a question today. Are you a Christmas before Thanksgiving person or a Christmas after Thanksgiving person? I tend to be one of those maybe by Christmas Eve Christmas person.
Oh.
That's me. I actually just kind of hand some money to Abby and say, "Here, go get some presents for us."
That's pretty
about
much it. He goes and gets gift cards at Walmart.
Well, no, actually, we have a whole different routine that we'll talk about later in the show at our house. But Janet, your tactician is showing, your implementer of personality is showing.
Yeah.
Mine is just, Christmas is out there. Let's do it. It's very visionary. It's very, very much who I am. But if you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube, comment where you are under in the comments section, whether you're a before Christmas shopper or an after. Before Thanksgiving shopper or an after Thanksgiving shopper. How about you, Candace? Which one are you?
I am a before. I at least make my list before.
Yeah.
And if there are things out there that I see for a good price, I may go ahead and purchase them. But I really like to save my list for Black Friday or Cyber Monday and wait for those sales. So I try to be intentional in that sense.
Yeah. I'm a big time sales shopper. It's just a lot of the stuff that we're getting now, it's on sale anyway. And so we just go ahead and get it for the convenience.
Yeah, they're having Black Friday sales.
Yeah.
Now.
It's done.
Yeah. They're trying to socially distance people. So Janet won't be in the crowd of people, busting through people trying to get to the, Build-A-Bear or whatever.
Obviously, this is not from an authentic shopper.
Yes.
It's usually for electronics and TVs and things like that.
Well,
Sean.
That's okay.
I know I've seen people fight over Beanie Babies before in a holiday setting. It was quite
In
disturbing.
decades long ago.
Yes.
Wow.
Hey, in 2018, check these statistics out. Americans collectively spent $6.2 billion on Black Friday and $7.9 billion on Cyber Monday alone. That is from the National Retail Federation. So clearly there is a lot of money, Janet, being spent during that opening season, if you will, of the Christmas season. I call it opening season because it's a lot like the deer hunters around here. They all head to the woods all at the same time, and you can tell when it's deer hunting season. You can't find anybody in the city, but you can find them on Highway 167 between here and El Dorado. That's for sure.
I think our real question here is, what are your intentions for the holidays? And I think it's important to be intentional about the holidays and thinking about what you want to accomplish. Is it to spend a lot of money, and is it maybe even spending a lot of money that you don't have, because then that puts you in a position of later paying for that. In January you're paying for your Christmas hangover, as we talked about in the intro to the show today, and it's not really where you want to be financially. If you're trying to move forward, then we've got to be more intentional. And guys, I remember my favorite Christmas memory really has nothing to do with gifts. In fact, I don't remember a single gift that I got that year.
Are we going to cry during this?
No, we're not going to cry.
Okay.
But
if
you recall, as most of Arkansas does recall, the ice storm of 2000, power was out for a couple of weeks for lots and lots of Arkansans.
I remember.
And we were at our in-laws' house, and we were there for a couple of weeks, no power. People from Texas and California, family members were there. So it's like the masses of the Walker family have all descended upon Little Rock in one house, and we have no power. It was great, though, because what happened is, instead of the kids sitting around on their electronics and fussing about whatever, the lights were out, and you know what? You can play Monopoly by sunlight, and you don't need candles during the daytime. We had the best time, and people who in this family now, 20 years later, they're adults, but they were children then. They also remember this as their favorite Christmas ever. They talk about it every single year. It didn't involve a single gift. It involved, at the end of the day, it involved family time together that they didn't get in that way at any other point, because at this time they didn't have a choice, So I would just say, determine ahead of time, what do you want to get out of the holidays? What's your goal? And that plays into the financial picture for you.
It clearly does, and we want to try to help today. And you have to ask yourself this question. So do you want to start 2021 in debt or out of debt? I think that's really one of the keys, is that you don't need to add to the debt pile if you already have debt. You need to avoid it if you don't have debt. We'll talk more about being intentional about your holiday spending as the Get Ready for the Future show continues in just a moment. We're just getting started all across the state of Arkansas and on Facebook Live and YouTube as well. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Hey, it's John and Janet from Gen Wealth Financial Advisors, and we are so excited and honored to be named Arkansas Money and Politics Best of the Best in 2020 in 2 categories. One as Best Financial Advisors, but secondly, Best Women-Owned Business.
Thank you so much for your vote of confidence in us. We know it's the Gen Wealth Financial Advisors name that showed up, but we also know that we couldn't have done it without you. So thank you so much for your support and for your vote of appreciation for Gen Wealth.
There's always been power in standing up for what you believe in, challenging the status quo, and never accepting the ordinary. What about the rest of your life? Will you settle? Or will your retirement be more? More fun, more family than finances, more than just investments. Connect with us at Gen Wealth and harness the power of more.
You ain't heard nothing yet. Buckle up, because we're back with the Get Ready for the Future show.
Guys, you know, in my prior career, I was actually on the radio. I did a little DJing, a little news directing and things of that nature. And I always loved giveaways when we were on the air, because the phone would ring and people would be like fighting almost like they do on Black Friday about getting a movie pass or something like that from the radio station. So let's spread a little holiday cheer today. Let's invite people to go over to our Facebook page and comment your favorite holiday memory on our giveaway post for a chance to win. And Janet, you've got some stuff in there that looks rather attractive for a holiday giveaway.
Yeah, for those who are not joining us on Facebook Live, for those of you listening on the radio, we have some hot chocolate that you can't see, and these are like the biggest candy canes ever. They're cinnamon flavored candy canes, and wow. And then there's a couple of stockings. One of them though is like super cool because it's just a solid white stocking, but it comes with a couple of markers, so you get to decorate it and do your own thing. And then Candace, you have maybe the most important thing in the whole stack.
Yep. This is the cash card.
There's a Visa gift card there. So, yeah, that'll help you out with maybe something for yourself or with some of your Christmas shopping. So, anyway, little bag of goodies here that we're pretty excited to be able to give away to you. And all you need to do is to head to our Facebook page and comment what your favorite holiday memory is, and you'll have an opportunity to potentially win our giveaway.
And we will have an opportunity to read about all of your holiday memories, and it'll be a fun time will be had by all. Let's get to work, guys. Let's talk a little bit about some tips that we can pass along to try to help avoid this holiday budget wreck that happens to people all over the place all the time. How do we avoid the budget blow up that could be coming?
Well, you know, the song about making his list and checking it twice, we would recommend that's your step number one, for you to make your list and check it twice. I have an app on my phone that I'd probably curl up in the corner and cry if I lost it, because it's my Christmas list. And and I even do things like, you know, there are some things that you give to your children like every year, like maybe bath bombs for your daughter or something like that. So I go back through last year's stocking list and uncheck the things that I want to do again, and it's just there again, and I don't have to think through all of that stuff again. So make your list, and that helps you. If you'll stick to that when you're doing your shopping, it'll really help you stick to your budget, because you don't have 5 sweaters on the list, you have 2, then let's just get 2, because that's what's on the list, Candace.
I made this mistake when my kids were really young. I just wanted to make Christmas just so amazing and big. And I didn't realize how out of control it got.
Yeah.
Until I found hidden gifts like a month later. And I was like, okay, that got out of control.
Yeah.
And so I started making my list every year, just like you described, Janet. I have a list just like that as well. If I lost it, I would cry because it has everybody I'm going to buy for. I just kind of clear it out every year and start over, and it's so helpful.
Yeah, it's great.
So you guys know my wife, and if you don't know Debbie, she loves to do stuff with food and things of that nature. And so just as sort of an example, the other day I was going over to Scott's to watch the Arkansas-Tennessee football game. And suddenly a couple of snacks turned into more than I could carry in 2 trips back and forth from the car to.
It was a feast.
It was food everywhere. It was bonanza. And so, one of the things that you have to think about and look out for, and hopefully you don't have as big a gatherings this year because of the whole COVID thing and everything, and trying to keep down the spread of the virus. But when you entertain for the holidays, that can get out of control just as much as your budget gets out of control when you're spending for gifts, because you can, add more food and more people and more food and more people and more food and more people. And all of a sudden it's like you're feeding the entire Fifth Army or something like that. Yeah.
I think, decide how much you want to spend, how much you can afford to spend. And if you need to get an extra job, then get an extra job, but don't get extra debt. Just draw the line that if this is important enough to actually do it, then it's important enough to not put us in a worse financial situation.
And I think also you've got to think about when you are trying to work through this, and this is not the time to be thinking about this. Obviously, last minute planning doesn't work on this, but maybe after the holiday season, you can begin to set aside a little bit of money every month to deal with Christmas. There are even banks that have Christmas clubs. That you can set aside a little bit of money and then take it out during the holiday season and go spend it, and that doesn't bust your budget. But you've got to have some type of mechanism or some type of discipline about it, because let's face it, all the retailers have all of the tricks and of the trade and everything to try to lure you to spend more money, because, quite frankly, that's their job. That's what they do.
I used an app one Christmas, or a couple of Christmases actually, where it would round up all my spending for the year to the next dollar, and then set aside that money. And I think it would invest it a little bit too, but that would grow. And I got to withdraw that at the end of the year for Christmas. And it was a fantastic deal. And I thought, oh my gosh, I think my bank stopped allowing it to happen, but there are still banks and apps that will work together and do that. I thought it was awesome.
John, you mentioned the Christmas Club. My mom-in-law did that, and they, and she was the first person I ever knew who used something like that many years ago, and they had just tight cash flow, frankly, during that time period, but she made Christmas happen because that was a very important thing to her. She made that happen by doing the Christmas Club. It made a big difference for their family.
Well, and you see people take extra jobs during the holidays, and those are things that I think could help very much so, because you're living on your regular budget during the year.
Yeah.
But when holidays hit, you've got to make some extra money to make that extra gift that you want to give. But I think also that once you've decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do, a little bit of discipline can go a long way when you can just kind of draw the line in the sand and say, okay, no more. And I don't have that problem. I have a problem of going and spending it all at one time. Some people have the problem of just keeping, going back and back and back and back to, throughout the holiday season.
Right.
I try to narrow my window of opportunity and say, okay, I'm going to do this like on the day before Christmas, so I can just get everything out of the way at one time. But you can overspend even in that setting. Christmas
Eve at 8 p.m., John's at the store. There's not a big
true.
window of time.
That's not true.
Okay, 7:45.
Okay. Christmas Eve morning. How about that?
I think
he works ahead.
I think my husband's out there with him, so
I'm busy. Come on, really. But I do think that you've got to be able to say, and sometimes it's easy to go over budget because of how much we love people. And here's the thing that I would say about that, and you figure this out, especially if there are young folks listening to the show today, you figure out later in life that it really doesn't matter how much you spend on that thing It really doesn't. We're going to have an example of that in just a little bit, but you've got to really realize that it is not the price tag that really drives the emotion that comes with gift giving.
Yeah, I think, it very much depends on what your family members' love languages are. For some people, their love language is gifts, and that's a big deal to them. That doesn't mean that it has to be expensive gifts, though. It could be something handmade and inexpensive to give. But for many people, their love language is time. And so you may give them a very expensive gift, and it doesn't say "I love you" to that person. So just understand the people that you're trying to love on, and figure out the best way to do that for them.
So what was your favorite gift as you were growing up, Candace?
Ooh. Oh, gosh, I didn't have time to think about that one. That's hard.
Okay, Janet, I'll give you a minute. Janet?
Okay. Y'all can laugh at me. This is going to date me, but that's okay.
Oh, we laugh at you all the time.
My brother and I got an Atari.
Ooh,
It's the
cool.
best thing ever.
Yeah.
I know everybody out there is going, "An Atari, you're old." Yeah, but you know what? Your stuff didn't exist when Atari came out, and it was super amazingly cool. And I can still whip you at River Raid, even though you can beat me at everything Mario. That's okay.
All right,
Nice.
Candace, you're on. Top that.
Okay, so I think it was, my mom was a very good gift giver.
Yeah?
And she got me the Swatch phone that was
yeah.
clear.
That was super popular for a while.
Yes,
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. And then if I had a friend over, she could also pick up the other end of the phone, and we could both be talking to another friend. And I always thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought
You were cooler than I was.
Atari is cool. I don't know what you're talking about. Atari is cool.
So Aaron just texted in from our marketing department and just said, my favorite gift was my first puppy, a Basset Hound.
Oh, that's a good one.
And that's if you can afford a puppy, and when I say afford
And
a
the
puppy,
maintenance afterwards.
yes,
all the
that's
upkeep.
exactly what I'm talking about is the maintenance afterwards. And I think that's those are gifts that just keep on giving. Yeah, when the Christmas gift that is the traditional Christmas gift is in the toy heap or whatever the case may
Yeah.
be, the puppy just keeps on giving. Of course, I'm a dog person, so I love dogs, and I think that those are great. But don't do one just to do it and then go, well, we got to get rid of that dog because it doesn't fit the family or whatever the case may be. Be very thoughtful about that because I think that's important. All right. So in looking at this situation, one of the things that I want to be sure that we touch on and point out is that don't rob from Peter to pay Paul in this particular situation. I have actually had people come to me over the course of my career and say, hey, I need to get a little money out of my IRA account because Christmas hit me hard this year. Oh no, Christmas didn't hit you hard. You hit you hard.
Yeah.
And you're really mortgaging your financial future when you do that.
I'm going to take just a second to brag on something that my brother did a few years. There is a lot of self-imposed pressure because everybody else is buying a gift for everybody in the family. Then you feel like you also have to buy a gift for everybody in the family. And, we all go through those years that are just difficult financially. And I remember a couple of years where he was in that spot and he called me and said, hey, I just want to let you know, I love you and everything, but I'm not getting gifts for anybody this year unless they're under the age of, and I don't remember what it was, but like under the age of 15 or something like that. And everybody else is just going to have to deal with the reality of the fact that sometimes life sucks as an adult. And so I'm not buying gifts for everybody. And I was like, dude, that's like the most amazing thing ever. I'm proud of you, to be able to just man up and go, here's reality. It stinks, but I'm not going to make it worse by trying to make everybody happy.
Hey, go get your favorite candy bar for somebody,
Yeah.
or their favorite candy
Yeah.
bar for somebody. It is the expression that really counts in this situation. And I think once you decide that, okay, this is your budget, you really got to stick to it. All right, we're going to continue the Get Ready for the Future show in just a moment as we talk about how to not bust your budget as you head toward Christmas. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment.
At Gen Wealth, one of our standards is that we value good communication. One of my favorite quotes about good communication is from George Bernard Shaw. He said, the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. If you ever doubt that, Come to my house, listen to my 16-year-old son and my 13-year-old daughter having a conversation, and see what happens, because they will walk away with completely different understandings of the conversation that has occurred. It happens every time. It's okay, they're still learning communication. But here at Gen Wealth, we believe that that's something you need to experience every time you walk in our door, that you need to feel understood, that you need to feel listened to. So you'll see a change in how we're even communicating. If you're talking about something that's very serious, very personal, you'll even hear a change in our tone of voice, because that's just how good communication is supposed to be. But it also means that we can feed back to you what you've shared with us, just so you know that we're listening. We value good communication.
A burning question? Email info@getreadyforthefuture.com with your name, location, and question to get a response on the air from the Gen Wealth team. Now, back to the Get Ready for the Future show.
We are trying to help you get through the holiday season with your budget intact, with your wallet intact, with your retirement plan intact.
Everything.
It is danger zone. It really is, because every retailer in the world is after you to spend money on their gadget or their product or whatever the case may be. And sometimes you need a little bit of help to be sure that your mind is right as you go into this season. And that's what we're doing on the show today. But guys, before we jump back into the tips, I wanted to talk just a little bit, because what also happens around this time of the year is that people are looking to actually exit their job. They're looking to retire. They're looking to make that transition from work to life, if you will. And we are just as busy as we can be these days helping people to do that. But we've got plenty of room for more folks that, if you're thinking about retirement before the end of the year, or if you think 2021 might be your year, this is what you need to do. You need to pick up the phone and call us, 501-653-7355, because you need to go through, Janet, the Gen Wealth Ready to Retire process to make sure you are ready to retire.
Absolutely. And let's talk about that just a little bit. You know, a lot of people, as you're coming up on retirement, you have investments, but you likely don't have a plan yet. In those investments, what you're dealing with is, you know, you've got mutual funds, you've got stocks, you've got bonds, whatever it is that makes up your particular portfolio, likely in your 401k. But has there come a point at any time where somebody has taken those and said, okay, you need how much money a month in income, and what are the sources that you have? Like, do you have a pension, and what's your Social Security going to look like, and when is that going to kick in? And then let's couple these investments with all of these in one plan to show you what your income can look like. If you haven't done that yet, as you approach retirement, it's time, because, John, I cannot imagine walking into retirement, Candace, without, you know, having answered that question of, what's my income going to look like, and how? Like, where's it going to come from?
Yeah, that's like getting in the car and not having your GPS.
Yeah, not even knowing where you're. Yeah,
we need to know where we're going.
Yeah.
You may know the city that you're going, but do you know the route to get there?
Right.
Yeah.
And do you know how to avoid the traffic snarls? Do you know how to avoid the bad roads? Those are the things that you've got to think about in terms of retirement. Taxes is a big issue. Dealing with things like Social Security, dealing with things like long-term care. All of those things are part of the Gen Wealth Ready to Retire process, and you can actually connect with us to meet with a Gen Wealth advisor and see if it's time for you to actually get underway with that process. Give us a call at 501-653-7355. We've got offices all across the state of Arkansas, in Conway, West Little Rock, El Dorado, Hot Springs, and in Bryant. We've got an advisor near you, and also in Northwest Louisiana and Bossier City, Louisiana. Gen Wealth is ready to help you make that transition from work to life, and we would love to have a no-cost conversation with you just to see if there are some things that we may be able to help you with, and I think you'll be actually pleasantly surprised that we can. All right, ladies, let's jump back into the tips. And Janet, you began to actually go down this road with the story about your brother. You got to set expectations with family, especially children, because children think that Santa Claus doesn't have a budget.
Yeah, my daughter and I have to brag on my kids for a minute. They have been amazingly mature over the years about their expectations of gift. gifts. They're just kind of naturally wired that way. It's like not their thing. But my daughter and I had this conversation last night, and the reason it was important to me to have, to talk through this with her is that this is her brother's senior year in high school, which means next year he's going to college and he needs a lot of stuff that he doesn't have yet. And so all of that stuff is on sale during this, Christmas shopping time period. We may not really need it until August, but we're going to see those better prices right now. And so we talked about, hey, there's going to be more stuff under the tree for your brother than there is for you. And she's like, I get it, Mom. It's like, sales, and he needs all that stuff. She was already there. But I just told her, I said, my mommy heart just needed to have that conversation and make sure you understood. But she was already there. And I think a lot of times we set our behaviors based on what we think their expectations are and not what they really are. And frankly, it's pretty easy to reset those expectations if you can have those conversations intentionally and not have to try to prove your love for your kids by buying stuff,
Candace, we have missed an incredible business opportunity. I just have to say this for a moment. We should have been setting up for a reality TV show of Stuart goes to college and Janet makes sure everything is perfect. That would be the title of the show. Because
it ain't going to be perfect. I'm just telling you now.
Well, it is. I picked at Janet about this off the air. It is the most well planned for college education I think I've ever seen in my life because Janet is a planner.
Well, I will say though, and you know this, John, it is more about the combination of who my son is and who I am. Like, it won't be the same way for my daughter.
That's true.
And it won't need to be.
That's true.
And I think that principle, that applies to your Christmas gifts too.
Bethany would be like, I got this, Mom. Don't worry about it.
And she will legit have it. I won't have to do very much. But I think that same concept of, your children are different. Let them be different. In the whole Christmas gift thing, that's important. Like, don't go, I bought one more gift, so now I have to buy one more gift for this kid. It's okay,
Yeah. I had to set the expectation for my kids one year too, and it was just funny. It came to my mind when you were talking about this, and I was telling Ashton, she's my youngest, like, hey, Christmas be a little bit smaller this year, just because, and she was just like, I don't understand. If you can't do it, just ask Santa, Mom. Like, I don't what's the problem? And I was like, yeah, let's talk about that too.
Well, hey, just because the price tag is better or it's the hot new toy doesn't mean that the gift is better. And just don't take our word for it. Commercials have actually been made because of it. Check this out.
Most popular toy for toddler, $500. Most popular stuffed animal for toddler, $350. Most popular picture book for toddler, $60. Watching her play with a cardboard box instead? Priceless. There are some things money can't buy.
Now, there you go. There are some things money can't buy, and I have a living example of that in my family. Graham, my grandson, he had a birthday back in September, and everybody was there, and there were all these presents and all these cool toys and all of this type of thing. Boxes.
Yeah.
He loved the boxes.
Oh, yeah.
And what he does sometimes now to entertain himself is he goes and plays in his closet, or he goes and plays in the kitchen cabinet.
Yeah.
And it's like stacking stuff out of the kitchen cabinet and stacking it back in and rolling around on the floor and all that type of thing. Kids can entertain themselves.
Oh, man.
We were looking at going through and picking out pictures from Stuart's childhood for some of his senior year stuff, and we were watching a video from his first birthday party, John. So kind of the same timeline here, and there are a bazillion toys because like every relative came to his first birthday party, and all this stuff that he didn't need. The kid was playing with the tissue paper that came out of the gift bag. Did not care about all the fancy stuff. It was the tissue paper.
So let's get this last tip in on this segment. Tip number 4 is to keep track of spending to stay on a budget. That is incredibly hard to do because especially if you are in a traditional Christmas, season, not quite like COVID, hopefully, there aren't big crowds, but if you're in the crowd, if you're in the mix, or if you're online and you've got momentum going on the little shopping cart that's online, then you just kind of keep going, but you've got to keep track of that spending to be sure that you don't bust the budget.
Candace, I think this goes back to, the list app, whatever list app you use. That's very important for us. And like last night, and even if my son listens to this show, he knows he's getting this, so it's okay for me to say this one in advance. He was wanting some pullovers, a couple of them. And so we're looking online, and you can get them from in the teens to over $100. And I'm like, no, he's 17. We're not spending $120. I might spend 25, but I'm not spending, even 70 or whatever. So it's one thing to have it on the list, but it's a secondary step as far as keeping on track with your budget. Don't buy things that aren't on your list, but the secondary step is to buy at a reasonable price range, and there are things that I will pay top end for because the quality matters more, but I'm not doing it for a pullover.
Right. Yeah. My list is very detailed. I don't know how yours is. But not only limiting in how much I'm going to spend on each person, but also what I'm going to spend it on. So I found this a few years ago. It's a list of how to buy Christmas, and it's a little rhyme, something they want, something they need, something to wear, and something to read. And I thought that was awesome, and I've been sticking to that for several years now, and it's plenty. It's plenty,
it really
and they
is.
Enjoy Christmas without having to go overboard.
I've never heard the rhyme, but that's what I did. My first cousins are more the ages of nieces and nephews, and so I bought for them before I had kids and that type of thing. And we would always get something to wear, something to play with, and something to read. So it was those three things, and they were delighted with 3 little gifts, and that was it.
Yep.
Yeah. I have to tell you this quick story. Last Saturday, I was out doing some errands, and I try to go by and look at stuff that I might want for Christmas because everybody's always asking me, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And I walked into a men's store, and there was this beautiful pullover, Janet. It was,
there you go.
It was great. It was perfect. I loved it. It was. I took
what was
a picture.
The price tag?
I took a picture of it. It was way too much. Let me just say that. And later, Debbie and I were talking, and she said, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I said, "Well, I found this pullover, but what is it? Where is it? Let me tell you, got a picture of it?" And I'm like, "Stop. Do not do this because it is too much. It is way too much. We're not paying that kind of money for a pullover." Now, there are high chances that I may have that pullover under the tree just because that's how she is. But you've got to discipline yourself.
Yeah.
You've got to say, look, we're going to spend this much on Christmas and that's going to be it. We're going to stay on track this year. And that would be, I think, the intention that you need to go into Christmas with this year is to say, look, okay, first of all, it's just weird because of COVID.
Yeah.
But secondly, we're going to make a change and we're going to be very intentional about what we're doing as far as Christmas is concerned. And we're not going to overspend. And if you go in with that mindset, I think you've got really a leg up on the assault that is literally going on your mind and on your pocketbook about overspending for Christmas. Hey, don't forget to head over to our Facebook page and comment on your favorite holiday memory and our giveaway post for a chance to win that basket of stuff that Janet and Candace have hemmed up in there. And we will be back on the Get Ready for the Future show with more tips in just a moment.
The beauty of a potter's work is that each item is unique. No piece is the same. That's what makes it art. At Gen Wealth, we believe your financial plan should be unique to you. Through our process, your money is carefully shaped around your goals and dreams. Your future, artfully crafted. Call us today or visit our website and connect with us. Gen Wealth Financial Advisors.
I don't think it's any coincidence that the Bible says, "Fear not," 365 times. one for every day of the year. At Gen Wealth, one of our standards is that we do not fear. We don't fear market downturns because we know that they're going to happen. We just simply plan for those things to happen and work around them. It's one of the things that we believe very earnestly, that you should never fear what you don't understand. You simply find a way to understand it and find a way to use it to your advantage. It's one of the Gen Wealth standards.
There are a ton of financial resources on GetReadyForTheFuture.com. No? Well, bookmark that page for later, because the Get Ready for the Future show is back.
We are talking holiday tips to not bust the budget on the Get Ready for the Future show today. Of course, if you are headed into the holidays and you are nearing retirement, you may want to look a little bit further than just the budget. You may want to look at maybe your budget for the next 20 or 30 years, because retirement is a big deal. If that's the case, we've got advisors that are standing ready to talk to you about that. Give us a call at 501-653-7355, and we would be glad to have a conversation with you and help you to plan for what is coming next after the first of the year. Maybe 2021 is your retirement year. Maybe you're going to get ready in 2021. Either case, give us a call. We'd love to help you with that here at Gen Wealth Financial Advisors. Guys, I'm very focused on the event, Christmas and the gift and all of that type of thing. And obviously I'm a last minute shopper, so I put off, and then all of a sudden there it is, and I got to get it done. But actually, Christmas can be much broader than that. It can be a much bigger experience than that. So let's talk about some ways that we can add to the holiday cheer without being too terrible on the budget.
My daughter, last night, we've decorated for Christmas, but the one thing that we still need to do is plan the activities that go on our Advent calendar. We have one of these little Christmas trees, and it's got doors that you open up for each day, and there's an activity in there. And even though my children are older, I mean, they're 17 and 14, this is a big deal to them. They love it. And so my daughter had pulled out all the notes from last year, and she's looking at me going, "Mom," and she just waits. She's like, "Mom, we need to do this." and we talked about, there are a lot of things that we did last year. Like some of the things we've done in years past have been there's a certain movie that has an opening date during that window, and it's hey, surprise, we're going to see this movie, or things like that. This year that's not happening, as just one example, but there are a lot of things where we can be really creative, and it doesn't have to be a big deal. Like one of them is calling grandma and singing a Christmas song to her over the phone. It doesn't cost anything, but it's fun and involving for everybody. Another one of the things that we do, and my daughter is the best at this. She can, oh my gosh, it blows my mind how good she is. But we'll come up with little bitty, 1 or 2 liner kind of poems, and it's things like, even if you don't bake from this place, cookies you can take. And so you have to take that and go, okay, they're probably talking about the cookie jar. And then you go to the cookie jar and you find another clue, and it ultimately leads you, Candace, to your Christmas gift from Bethany, but it might take you an hour to find your Christmas gift. But it builds memories. I mean, we do that one with somebody almost every year, and we never laugh so hard than during that time, and it's completely free. I
love that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I'll tell you something else that is completely free, and you can really kind of take advantage of other people's excesses in this. How many Griswolds are there in Saline County? Think about it. The Griswold Christmas, layout, right? From Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
Both of you are looking at me
like we're both looking at each other like,
okay.
Don't know where he's going, and we're on air. Come on.
Okay. All right. So the typical Griswold Christmas is, there are lights on every square inch of the house and all that type of thing. There are plenty of Griswolds in Saline County. I know that. And probably wherever you're listening to this show, there are a bunch of them, because it's just the cool thing to do right now, right?
Yeah.
And so you've got to think about, okay, how can I take advantage of that? Well, you can get in the car. It costs a little bit of gasoline to drive around and check all that out. I know there is one that is the combination of the Griswolds and the Trans-Siberian
Yes.
Orchestra deal.
I know which one you're talking about.
Over
Yeah.
in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. And I would park over there 2 or 3 times during the Christmas season and just sit there and watch it for like several minutes at a time till it cycled through again. But these computerized displays are fascinating, and it's a great time
love those.
to actually pile in the car with the family and be sure you're wearing your mask and all of that. But, pile in the car with the family and go and actually take advantage of something that is basically free.
That's one we do every year, and the only twist to it is we go in our Christmas pajamas. Yes, we drive around Saline County in our Christmas pajamas. It's okay. It's Saline County. We can do that. And we take popcorn with us. And so we take little bags of popcorn, and we eat popcorn, and we drive around and look at all the Christmas lights.
That's kind of like one of our traditions is we always do a Christmas Eve gift, and that's where our pajamas are. And then we put a movie, a thing of popcorn, and then like one of those movie size candies in there as well.
Yeah.
And so we always open those on Christmas Eve. It's fun.
See, now Janet talked about a little bag of popcorn. Last time she came by my house at Christmas, they'd gone by the movie theater and actually gone in, didn't watch the movie, bought the popcorn, the big tub of popcorn, the giant tub of popcorn, and had all been feeding out of that thing, waved it under my nose, and then went away. And I'm going, I want the movie popcorn. What do you? Did you not
popcorn,
bring me
though.
some?
That's the way to
the
do
best.
it.
Yeah.
We a lot of times we'll pop it at home, but it's better to get it from the movie theater.
I like it.
So, and I think, obviously food costs something, but baking and sharing that with friends and family and that type of thing is a great way to do some things that don't cost a lot of money. Some people are very crafty. I couldn't craft anything. It just doesn't work. Does not work. And so, but if you are gifted in that, then you can actually do that. And you can decorate the tree together. There's a lot of stuff that you can do together if you just kind of put your mind to it. I think we've gotten into this, habit of convenience. Let's just go buy something and put a done sticker on it and say, we're done and we're good. But those are things that I think that we could all think about, that we could not spend as much money, but spend some more time and spend some more interaction to get us down the road a little ways. All right, we've got one more tip before we get out of here. Plan ahead for next year. Janet, this has got to be you because obviously you're the planner. So I'm gonna shut up over here because I don't plan for anything other than my client's financial future because I get tired of planning at work, and so I don't plan at home. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
One of the things that we have here in this is like buying wrapping paper at the end, after the Christmas season, and that is something we don't need to buy it every year, but that is something that my husband and I intentionally have that conversation. Like while I'm wrapping gifts, he's like, "Are we good for next year too?" And if not, we're not buying it in December. We're buying it in January, and so that's it's not a big huge money saver, but think about other things like that. Like what are you going to need next year that you can hit a sales point, after the holidays and catch that on sale and go ahead and do it and save you money that you can use next year for Christmas in another way.
Yeah, over the years, I have accumulated all the Christmas bags. I don't need any Christmas bags.
Yeah.
I don't, from here till Kingdom Come, I don't think.
Yeah.
I am good. And my kids are getting used to seeing these bags, but they haven't called me on it yet.
Just don't put the Christmas wrap up in the attic because it will yellow from the heat. You don't want to do that. So,
Sounds
guys,
like life experience talking.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So let me also share with you guys what we do around the Shrewsbury house. And this is probably not going to happen this year just because of COVID. But in the past, what we have done is that we've given small gifts at Christmas and then took the money that we did not spend at Christmas and then went maybe on a trip. Maybe we've gone out of town. We've gone to Dallas on a number of occasions and just gave the money to the kids and said, okay, you can buy all the stuff that you want, and you can buy it for probably half of what we would have bought it for before, because everything is really on sale in those after Christmas sales, and you can go get what you want. And sometimes we have to pay extra at Southwest to have the suitcase,
extra baggage
extra
coming back
home because we bought so much stuff and had to pack it in the suitcases. So we got smart and started driving where we were, where we were going, as opposed to flying. But I think that what that does to me, for me, is it gives some calm to that hustle and bustle of the Christmas season. Some of that is good, but when you're you're out, until midnight trying to, rustle up Christmas gifts just to meet a quota or something like that, then that becomes more of a drudgery than it does actual fun. And so we go and we go out to eat. We have a great time. I'm going to miss that this year because we're probably not going to do it because of COVID, but it will be something that we do again as soon as all this mess is over.
I'm going to go ahead and jump to my final thought because we are almost at the bell. I would say just to make your Christmas enjoyable and financially reasonable. And those two can go together. It is very possible to make that happen. And like John, you and I are very different as far as Christmas is concerned. I love shopping for, all the Christmas gifts, whether it's in person or online. I enjoy doing that, and I enjoy wrapping the gifts. I enjoy decorating. None of those are on John's happy list, and so it's okay for us to have very different Christmas habits. Make it enjoyable for your family, and then also make sure that it fits financially for you.
I think that's very important. Candace, what are your final thoughts?
I would just say don't start 2021 in debt. 2020 has been a doozy. Let's try to start off a little bit better in 2021. Plan, make a list, stick to a budget. It'll still be a great Christmas.
Yeah, and I would add to that Black Friday and Cyber Monday are very close. They're going to be here next week. Before you know it, it's going to be happening. And if there isn't a specific gift on your list that you need, stay home, shut the computer off, and save your money. Just don't do it. Don't forget about, the things that we've said on the show today. We've gone through several things, and we've shared personal stories about how you can actually make Christmas very enriching, very meaningful to your family without going and spending some money. And I'll venture a bet that if you polled your family and you said, hey, had you rather have the Christmas gifts or would you rather us struggle in debt next year? Most of them would probably say, yep, I'd rather you not struggle in debt and us have a nice family Christmas, as opposed to watching you have to stretch and rob from Peter to pay Paul, as I like to say, to try to get there. So clearly it is something that you really want to try to focus on as we go through the holiday season.
John, quick reminder about the giveaway. You want to do that?
Absolutely. Don't forget to enter our giveaway. Head to our Facebook page and comment your favorite holiday memory on our giveaway post to enter to win, and we will announce that winner on Monday morning. And we'll put that on our Facebook page as well. All right, that is going to do it for the Get Ready for the Future show for this weekend. Have a great weekend. We will see you again next week right here.
The Gen Wealth Financial Team is available to you 24/7 at info@getreadyforthefuture.com or call our offices at 501-653-7355. You should personally consult a financial advisor before making any investment, and no strategy can assure success. Gen Wealth Financial Advisors is an Arkansas-registered investment advisor with securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.